So hey guys, it's Ziant again, and this is Call of Duty, not because I wanted to play Call of Duty, and not because I have any reason to play Call of Duty, though I have been playing it in lieu of Titanfall. Instead, I'm responding once again to the incomparable Scanner Barkley, who just revisited Call of Duty Ghosts on PC, and a lot of what he said is true. The game doesn't look good, doesn't run well. Even after optimizations that have happened, it's choppy at best. The maps are wrong, and just in general, not the best game in the world. But I wanted to talk about something he brought up but didn't really touch on all that much. How Ghosts, for me at the very least, is not a Call of Duty title. Scanner mentioned that when he bought Ghosts, he didn't buy it because he wanted anything revolutionary. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he wanted a Call of Duty game. What he got was not Call of Duty. It was some kind of game imitating Call of Duty and claiming that it was in fact Call of Duty, when quite obviously, if you spent any amount of time with the game, you knew that that was not true. And I want to talk about a couple reasons why I think Ghosts fails to be a Call of Duty game. And first and foremost, because you have to talk about this sort of thing, is the maps. And I've talked about this before at some length, but it bears redressing again. Call of Duty has a very specific map structure. 3 lanes of traffic broken up in various ways. Ghosts, to their credit, they wanted to innovate Call of Duty. Trouble is, they don't fucking know how. So, when they made maps that were not 3 lanes, or 3 lanes overlapped at a grid pattern, they failed to realize that you have to create maps that flow in addition to changing how they're laid out. And if you look at the good maps, and again, I've said this before, Warhawk, some other maps, because I don't play that game, they're 3 lanes. They're the Call of Duty formula, because Call of Duty, at this point in its lifespan, which is, what, 7, 8 years old, it has to stick to a formula, because the team behind it, who knew what they were doing, is now making Titanfall, or more specifically, has made Titanfall. And those maps, for all their chaos, have a formula and have a flow. And I guess that's the next thing. Call of Duty is, like a good thriller novel, a piece of formula video game. You can almost make a Call of Duty from the ground up and not be funded by Activision. Now, of course, you won't have the marketing budget, you won't have the advertising budget, you won't have the staff budget, and it will take you about 10 times as long. But if you have access to the Quake engine, or some variation of the Quake engine, and you have any skill with coding, and you can make maps, well, you could probably just port all the guns from various Call of Duties, and you'd have yourself a Call of Duty, because it's formula. And it was built from the ground up to be formula. Infinity Ward, back when they were making Call of Duty, the original team that is, they built it so it could be iterated on. Not iterated in any sort of very quick sense, but every couple of years, a team of a couple hundred people could make a full game. In game design, that's not ideal. You want 3 years, if not more, to do R&D and idea generation in the first year, mechanic construction in the second year, game building and fine-tuning in year 3. I'm paraphrasing that from David Vonderhaar, the game design director on Black Ops 2, and the butt of many a joke in the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 community. But he's right, you need more time than the Call of Duty cycle gives its developers. And so, like I say, Call of Duty was made a formula to be iterated on in small amounts. It was built that way from the ground up. And Infinity Ward, the new one that is, when they tried to change how Call of Duties are built forgot that there's a formula for a reason. And so when you look at a lot of the maps, and again, I'm going back to that old standby Siege. Siege, parts of that map make no sense. They serve no purpose. And in a game that should be as fast as Call of Duty is built from the ground up to be, every part of your map must serve a purpose. I'm talking specifically about the A and C flag areas. The B flag area is fine. It's okay. Even the warehouse area that really is sort of just there, it's okay because it's an alternate route of traffic. But the back areas on that map, which are fairly sizable and took up, I imagine, a fairly large amount of asset building time, no one's ever there. No one uses those particular parts of the map. So why are they there? What purpose do they serve? The answer is they serve no purpose. And my thinking is they just used that to pad the time. And by padding the time, they came out with a fewer amount of less quality maps because the big maps like Siege, like Whiteout, have dead zones. A Call of Duty map must minimize the dead zones. And this is turning into a map design rant, and I don't want it to. I want to talk about another thing that I think the Call of Duty new Infinity Ward team forgot about, was that what made the old Call of Duties work, COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, and even, I would say, Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops, the original one, well, there were a number of options available to the player. Perks, weapons, kill streaks. They were not overwhelming. And so, with the 2 years that Infinity Ward had, they went overboard with the mechanics. There are in Ghosts too many perks, which makes them not enough weapons, and so there's a ton of balancing time with those perks that could be used elsewhere if you had about half the perks. The maps are, again, too big. There are not enough weapons. There are not enough kill streaks. And what this tells me is that in the new Infinity Ward, they spent too much time changing things. And I want to talk about something that I think Scanner Barkley will be happy to hear about. Reload animations, and animations in general. I don't like the new Infinity Ward's take on animations, but they have a big backstock of ones that have already been done. You just need to apply them to the new weapon skin. But they went full bore. Almost every single weapon has new animations, except for the K7. The K7 uses the UMP's animations from stem almost to stern. Nothing else does. If you look at the old Infinity War games, reused animations out the wazoo. And it works, because that's work you don't have to do. Because like I say, Call of Duty is a formula. And when you deviate too far from that formula, you have a recipe for disaster, which in this case was Call of Duty Ghosts.